because this is very much interactive, as those who have been with me all before know before. But I have a question for all of you. So let's get a show of who thinks which one of these is more important: effort in real estate or skill? And by the way, it's not a trick question. I know Amanda's going, which answer does he want? No. Oh, I see Kathy Coffee going skill. Okay.
Effort.
Both. Sydney says effort. Ashley says both. Monica says effort. EC says effort.
Okay. All right. So we got a little, it sounds like we have more efforts than skill, right?
It's wrong.
Who said that?
JP is Switzerland with effort and skill.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So we have non-committal going on right here, right? Okay. So here's the question. If you have no effort, are you going to be successful?
Maybe. No. Maybe.
Right? Maybe.
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely. Could you fall into something? Sure. You could fall into something. Is that likely to happen? No, not really. If you have no skill, can you be successful?
Unlikely.
Unlikely, right? Now you could, again, you could fall into something, right? And you could have things happen. So here's a question. How many brand new agents? Okay, good. All right, or fairly new, right? Okay. And then how many experienced, 5 years plus? Okay, good. Russ, I know you're like 49 years plus, something like that. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
49 and counting.
So here's what I want to ask. If you're a new agent, right, and you're coming into the business, or any agent, if you don't make the effort to, hold on, let me do that. There we go. I got it. If you don't make the effort to make contacts, what happens? Then you don't have much success, right? Are you going to see massive success based on just effort? Probably not, right? So I want to show you something. And I want to show you something that we've been watching and studying for years. And then we'll go into how, you take these massive jumps in real estate, and especially, with the things that are going on in real estate and the things that are probably going to happen in real estate over the next couple of years, these become even more and more apparent and more necessary as we move forward, right? Because you have this shifting market that's potentially probably coming up, and it's going to take both effort and skill. And I'll tell you ahead of time, right? It's both of them. But there's a caveat in this too, because if you have one without the other, as Sydney said, you're unlikely to have great success in real estate. And that's even more apparent as market shifts. So I'm going to share my screen with you. All right. Can y'all see that? Good. Okay. So here's what I wanted to show you, right? And let's do some variables first before we do this. And Russ and Sydney, I'll send this to you guys so you can play with it too. But what's your average sales price? Ish.
400, 450.
Let's go 400 at the low side, right? Or just conservative. What's your average commission that they're actually getting on both sides combined? What, 2.5-ish, 5 combined, so 2.5 for each side. Okay. And then here's the other thing. What's the split? 70-30, 70-30, perfect. All right. So look at this as you go forward. Now, what I want to do is explain these things over here. So you've got a $400,000 average sales price. You've got an average commission of 2.5%. Some places charge processing fees, marketing fees, things like that. Appointment to agreement ratio. Now there's 60% in there, because the average new agent, as they're coming into the business, is probably a 60%. What that means is from the time that you get an appointment to a signed either buyer agency agreement or listing agreement, 60%. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, good. All right. So then once you get the agreement, there's a whole nother process, right? You've got to go from an agreement to actually getting a contract for either a purchase or a sale of that property from that particular client. So the average in that is about a 70% from agreement to contract. In other words, a 70% success ratio in either finding somebody the right house or selling the right house. And again, these are averages. They can change during what market conditions are going and a couple of other things. And then contract to close. There is probably a 15% to 30% fallout rate. Different areas of the country right now, right? From the time that you have an actual agreement to either buy or sell a property and to the closing. So there's probably a 15 to 30% fallout rate. And so if you think about those things, those are just the averages for the average agent. And we'll talk about that in a second. But then you look at this, if you had your optimum time, if you could say, okay, I want X amount of weeks of vacation per year. And let's be realistic as the average agent, right? Not that one that's been around forever and has a team and can leave and go on vacation for 6 months and everything still happen. So if you want to take a number of weeks of vacation per year, what would you want to take? 2, 4, what?
2. A lot of people are saying 2.
2. I
Mine
see
is
a 5 up there from Amanda. Amanda's going 5. Is Amanda, is that 5 weeks or 5 months?
She's being truthful.
Okay. All right. There you go. There you go. All right. Days per week. Let's just say that you're going to do the average work day for right now, right? The average work week, 5 days a week, you're going to spend on real estate and take 2 days off per. So let's look at this too. Do you think that you can have 5 real estate conversations per day? Let me define what that means. Okay. That doesn't mean that you're sitting in a coffee shop and all of a sudden somebody's beside you and they're talking about the home at 123 Main Street and you go, oh yeah, that's an awesome property. That's fantastic. You should go see it. And then you walk out the door. Okay. A real estate conversation is a legitimate conversation with someone that you know. I'm not going to say necessarily a buyer seller, but about what's happening in the market, potentially about buying or selling, or even asking the question, who do you know, or who should I know that has had a conversation about buying or selling? Does that make sense? Okay. So that excludes all the conversations about the pretty fences and the blue sky. All right, good. All right. So how many of you think that you can have 5 real estate conversations 5 days a week? Sounds easy, doesn't it? How many of you are actually doing that? Yeah, okay. All right. You don't have to raise your hand because I'm going to guess not many, right? All right. So watch this. So let's look at this. The average new agent comes into the business. You really don't have any skills, right? Remember, your real estate class to get your license was all about how to pass a test, not about how to do real estate. So if you look at that and you think about that, you've got to have approximately 15 conversations to get 1 appointment. 15 conversations. That means you're actually working 3 days a week to get 1 appointment that's set. But if you look at that, think about this. If you do that with your average numbers, just 5 days a week, 2 weeks of vacation, the base ratios without a whole lot of skill, 5 conversations a day, you're going to have 83 appointments per year. You're going to have 26 closings a year and you're going to make $183,750. Anybody say that would be a pretty good start? Okay. All right, good. JP, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. But watch this. If you get better and you say, all right, I'm going to get just a little bit better, 1% better, right? 10% better over the next 30 days. And you go from 15 contacts, 15 real estate conversations to 14 or 13. That means you're still almost working, right? 3 days, but it's like 2.5 days. If you get to 13 conversations to make 1 appointment, you're now going on 96 appointments a year. You're closing an extra 4 properties and you're making, look, an extra $28,269. The effort didn't change, did it? The number of conversations didn't change. Even your ratios over here didn't change, but you increased your skill level just by a small fraction. What if you ended up going all the way from 15 to 10, and it took you 10 conversations to set one appointment? And that could be 10 expired conversations. It could be 10 FSBO conversations. It could be 10 sphere of influence conversations, asking if they're looking to buy or sell, or who do they know that is looking to buy or sell. If you got just 5 better, look at the increase of what you did. $91,000 more, almost $92,000 more, just by working on your skills, as opposed to having more effort. Is this starting to make sense a little bit, right? Here's the question though. Why don't we do this in real estate? Why do we not work on our skills? We come in and, you know, in a lot of cases, and Russ and all you guys that have been around for a while, I know you've seen this, right? We throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and we hope something sticks, as opposed to figuring out and really evaluating, how do we get better at the form of lead generation that we're going to choose? Okay. Watch this though. Let me show you something else. So what if you got better and practiced your presentations for your buyers, or your presentations for your listings, and you got just a little bit better at that? And instead of getting 6 out of 10 to sign your buyer agency agreement or your seller listing agreement, you got 7 out of 10. Watch the number from 183, 275. Just watch this. Ready? Massive increase, right? Just by getting a little bit better. Let me go back and I'm going to show you this again. Base agent coming into the business, 6 out of 10, 183,000 just here, just from contacts. Even if you don't get better at setting the appointments, even if you just get better at doing your presentation for buyers and sellers, watch, from 183,000 to 214,000. Kind of interesting, right? So let me ask you again, which one's more important, effort or skill?
Both.
They are, right? They are both important. I would say that when you're coming into the business as a new agent, you've got to put the effort forth, right? You've got to actually have the conversations. Well, watch this too. And let me just show you the difference in this. So let's say you only had 4 conversations per day. Do you see that? That's almost a $40,000 in decrease, right? Watch, 4 conversations a day. And this is where the effort piece comes in, right? Just having 1 more conversation. That means probably making 5 more dials to have 1 person pick up the phone to have a real estate conversation. You went from 4 to 5. That's a big jump too, isn't it? Imagine putting all these things together though, right? And let's take the average agent and let's just get some ideas from there and be honest. All right. How many conversations are you guys truly having 5 days a week on average? Give me some numbers. Real estate conversations.
I think I'm probably doing about 2 a day.
Okay. 2 a day. All right. Sydney, I'm going to use yours, right? Okay. Thank you for participating. So you see where this does, right? You look at this 2 conversations a day, and the reality is I'd probably say that's probably average, right? Anywhere between 2 conversations a day, 5 days a week. If you do an open house and you have a bunch of people that show up, obviously you can have 10 conversations, but then for some reason, agents like to take off the other 6 days of the week when they do that. Why do we do that? Right? Okay. All right.
These agents.
Or here's the other piece too. Watch this. How many of you that have been around a little bit have had a couple of things come through and you get a couple of things under contract and you forget to have your real estate conversations until those actually close? Anybody in that category? Come on.
There's a lot of hands.
Yep, right. So that's that real estate roller coaster. You're right, Amanda, right? That's the real estate roller coaster. And that's what so many agents are on, because you get excited. You have a couple of them that are under contract, and all of a sudden that's your focus. You get into this laser focus on just those deals, and you forget what got you there. And you forget that you've got to continue to have these conversations on a consistent basis to not be on the real estate roller coaster, right? So watch this. So let's take this and let's say, okay, Sydney, you're going to have a concentrated effort. You're going to move to purposeful in having the goal set to have 3 conversations a day, 5 days a week, right? Just 3. From 73,000 at a base level, or 110 if you get really good, to $110,000. That is a $37,000 pay raise that you just gave yourself by doing that. 37,000. Is that worth having one more conversation? In other words, 5 conversations a week. That's it. 5 conversations a week. Yes. Okay. So does this make sense? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this for a second, because this is important. How do you increase your skills? What's important, and how do you do it? If you're looking at lead generation, I think I've asked you guys this before. Do all forms of lead generation work?
Yep.
They do. Do all forms of lead generation work for all of the agents that are there, for each of you? No, because you're going to find the things that you want to do, that you like to do, and that you can do well, that fit your personality, right? But here's the key. How many forms of lead generation do you have to sell $10 million at a minimum every year? How many implemented forms of lead generation? Shh, Russ, be quiet.
Anybody? Any guesses?
I remember from last week.
Did you?
Right?
What you got?
There's a
What'd
couple
you say?
people who
2. 1, you're a liar.
do. Oh, shots fired.
I said it quietly.
One. Let me give you an example of that. Okay. Think about this. If you have, oh God, with your average price range, well, let's just say this. How many of you have 100 names in your phone? 100 contacts, everybody in there, right? So if you put 100 contacts in your phone on a sphere of influence or a 36 touch plan, and you're contacting them 4 times a week by phone, and you're doing all the rest of the things, the 32 pieces of the contact plan, right? What can you expect as a return?
You mean 4 times a year by phone, right?
4 times a year by phone.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
4 times a week, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
That's right. Exactly.
Nothing new has
Exactly.
happened since yesterday.
So what can you expect?
What was that? It was a 10 sales.
10%. You got it, right? 10%. So if you have 100 and you're going to get 10% return on that, that means you're going to have 10 closed deals each year, right? 10. That's it. You have a $400,000 average. That's 400 or 4 million, right? Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. 10 times 400,000 is 4 million in sales. If you are working real estate and all you do is you have 10 of those, what is the average number of additional pieces of business that you should be getting from every closed piece of business? 2. How much did you just sell? Just by having a sphere of influence 36 touch plan with 100 people.
$12 million.
Exactly. Right? Okay, watch this. What if you said, okay, I'm going to work on open houses. Right? Open houses. That's it. And you do the correct open house, and you say, all right, I'm going to do that once a week for the next 6 months. 6 months. If you do the correct open house, how many people on average can you have walking through that property?
2.
2? Okay, let's go with 2. All right, I'll take that, right? So I'm going to do the math on here. You ready? So 2. We did 2 people in that very first month, and let's say that's 8 people walking through that property, right? Do you think that you could have 1 potential buyer by doing that? Okay, so that's 1 potential buyer, right? So if you did that for the next 6 months, how many potential buyers do you have?
6.
Okay. Do you think you're going to get better at doing the open houses?
Mhm.
Do you think that you're going to add all of those people that came into the open houses? By the way, 8 each month, 8 times 6 is 48. Plus you have 6 buyers, which is 54. Okay. So think about the math on this, right? Do you think that those 6 buyers turn into how many more? 12, right? So now you're at 18 deals, aren't you? Right? By the way, that's the first 6 months. What happens in the next 6 months? And you have the same. Would that be 36 potential deals from doing just open houses? By the way, 36 times 400,000 is how much?
A lot is a consensus.
A lot is the consensus. 36 times 400,
14 million.
14.4 million. How many forms of lead generation did you do on each one of those examples?
Just 1.
1, right? All right, so let's talk about that. How many of you are doing more than 1 form of lead generation and you're brand new to the business?
We have three hands.
Okay,
And Amanda.
how good are you at it?
Mediocre.
Right,
Getting
right.
better
Thank you,
every day.
Catherine. Thank you, Catherine. Okay, right? We're mediocre at it. Because if you started, let's take the open house one as an example, right? So you decide this week, I'm gonna brand new to the business. I know nothing. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do an open house, right? Are you gonna do the open house correctly? Probably not, right? Are you gonna have great results from that first open house? No. Are you gonna learn? Okay, next week you said, okay, I'm gonna add this piece to the open house. Are you gonna have results? Maybe, maybe not, right? Are you gonna get better? Yes. Week number 3, what happens? Well, it's the same process. You continue to grow and learn. How do you accelerate that process though? How do you accelerate that process? Well, think about this. What happens when somebody walks in? Who does open houses? All right, good. Amanda, Sydney. All right. Amanda, can I role play with you a little bit?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna walk into your open house. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, I just walked into your open house. What do you say? I'm putting you on the spot. I know, but
Oh,
just go ahead.
well, welcome in. Where do you guys come from today?
We're actually visiting. We live in Alabama and thinking about moving here.
Oh, wonderful. What do you, I don't know. This is awkward.
All right, you ready?
Mhm.
I want you to do the same thing with me.
Hi, can we look at the house?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Hey, my name's Rob. I'm the host today. Let me give you just sort of an outline and a layout of this, and I'm gonna let you go after that, and you just come back with questions when you're ready, okay? So this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and by the way, the master and the kitchen are in this direction, right? Make sure when you go into the master that you're looking at that walk-in closet. It's got great built-ins in it. It's got a lot of storage. When you come into the kitchen, check out the deck off the back, okay? It is some amazing views of the mountains. You're gonna love it. And then the other 3 bedrooms and the 2 baths are over on the other side. With that, go ahead. Now, what did I do? Think about this a little bit.
Did you breathe?
A little, maybe. In between the, the hand signal, right?
Well,
So
you
there's a
threw-
couple of things.
You
Say
threw
that-
in an assumptive close, Rob. You said, you're gonna love it.
You got it. But here's what also I did as well. I want to make sure that I give them a layout. So I know, by the way, notice what that was. That was a script, right? It's going to change how often? The only thing that's ever going to change is the number of bedrooms and bathrooms and what I get them to look at, right? That's it. It's the only thing to change. By the way, how do you practice that? Just like we did, right? That's the only thing. If I'm practicing for an open house, all I'm going to start with my role play partner, key in there. Y'all heard that, right? Role play partner. Okay. Is we're going to go back and forth on that script 10, 20, 30 times. Because the first time that I do it, am I going to do it right? No. The 10th time, am I going to do it right? It's going to be a little bit better, but is it going to be great? Not necessarily. By the time I do that consistently for 10, 20, 30 times, is it going to be able to roll off the tongue without marbles in the mouth? Right? Every time. Okay. Here's the key though. That's the only thing that we're going to go back and forth with until I do that 10, 20, 30 times. Then I'm going to go to the next piece of that open house script process, which is not done until you meet them in the kitchen. And by the way, there's a reason that we do this, right? If I direct somebody to the master in the kitchen, and then I meet them in the kitchen, do they know if they want the property or not? Every single time, because what's the determining factor? It's not the kids' bedrooms, because if it has one less bedroom and those bedrooms are small, the kids are getting bunks. But mom and dad and parents, they're looking at their master and their kitchen, right? The determining factors for properties are what? Those two rooms. Those are the initial pieces. Now, is it the 100% of the determination? No, but do they know if they can see themselves living in that house, which becomes a home after walking through those two places? Yes. So what'd you just do? You cut down on your timepiece, right? And and you can go right to the point. Can you see yourself living here? And by the way, Amanda, you ready?
Ready.
Right. So now you've walked through the master in the kitchen, right? I'm meeting you in the kitchen. Well, so can you see yourself living here?
I don't know. If we're ready yet.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where was it in your process?
It was a 7.
Okay. What would have made it a 10?
Another bedroom.
Ah, okay. All right. Perfect. If you come over here, I've got some properties over here that I think make perfectly fit what you're looking for. Whoops. So now do they even have to go look at the rest of the stuff? No. By the way, let me ask you a question. Who's the broker, by the way? Is that Russ? Okay. Can you put earphones on for just a second, Russ? Okay. Do you know what I did not ask when they walked in the door and I still haven't asked?
Their name.
Yes. And
You have an agent.
there, that one. That one. That one. Because if I ask you as an agent, if you have an agent walking in the door, what's your automatic reaction?
Yes.
9 times out of 10. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Why? Because they know that's the roadblock and I'm going to go away. By the way, what's the number one day for people to go shopping for cars?
Saturday.
Sunday. Why? Kathy's got it. Because they're closed. Right? So same thing. All right. So get back to that. We're talking about the effort versus skill thing. But here's what we did. We just went through a process right there of what all of you should be doing for your chosen form of lead generation. And when I say that, that includes everything from putting together the traditional 36 touch plan. I shouldn't say traditional because it's evolved so much over the years, right? Practicing those phone calls, those quarterly phone calls, practicing the follow-ups, because the initial thing, if you've got that database and you have 100 names, aren't you going to initially call to find out if you've got the correct information to be able to add them to your 36 touch plan? So what's the script and dialogue for that, right? Do you just start dialing without knowing what your script and dialogue is? Or do you practice it first to get better at it so that you know that you can go from a 15 conversation to one appointment to a 10 conversation to one appointment? Does this make sense, by the way, to everybody? Okay. Here's the thing, and here's the challenge that I've got for you, is if you'll take your lead generation, and if you're doing 2, 3, 4 things, if you'll cut it down to 1, maybe 2, I'll give you 2 potentially, but if you'll really cut it down to the thing that you like to do and will do consistently based on your personality, right? So if you're an SNSC, you're not going to hit the phones and dial phones. You're not going to do expireds, but you're going to do other things. You're going to love open houses, by the way. If you're an I, what are you going to love? Open houses, events, networking events, things like that, right? If you'll concentrate on the one thing, and you'll do that for the next 6 months, and in the meantime, you'll find a role play partner who's going to do that thing as well. They don't have to do that. They can have their own that's different, but if you'll find a role play partner and you'll commit to practicing your scripts for an hour a day, 3 days a week for the next 30 days, you're going to go from a 15 conversation to 1 ratio to at least a 13 to 12, somewhere in that neighborhood. If you continue it for another 30 days, you're going to go from 15 conversations to 1 appointment to 10 to 1 appointment. We watch this every single time, all the time, when agents will commit to practicing their craft. How do you become an Olympian? You might know.
Repetition.
Repetition. You guys heard the story about the Olympian? No? No? Let me give you, you haven't heard of the story about the dad and the daughter who decided she wanted to go to the Olympics? Okay, let me give you guys a story. Okay. So, I heard this, it was about 6, 7 years ago, I think. And it was interesting because this girl went into high school and she was forced to join a team, join a club, right? And she decided to join a club. And it was interesting because she joined the club and she did it just because she wanted to meet people and she was forced to do it. And so first year she didn't take it seriously. She wasn't good. And by the way, it was rifle. She joined a rifle team. Kind of interesting, right? And she was mediocre, never on a scoring person, never did much of anything. They were surprised when she said, yeah, let me do it her sophomore year. So she said she was going to do it sophomore year, and about halfway through sophomore year, all of a sudden something happened. How many of you have 16-year-old daughters? Anybody? How many of you have been a 16-year-old daughter? Okay, y'all are mean.
Can't joke
Right?
about that, JP.
Okay, all right, no arguments on that one, right? So 2 of the girls on her team told her she should quit and that she was never going to be any good, right? And so what she did is she went to her dad and she said, hey, will you build a range in the warehouse? And so he did. And for the next 30 days, for 2 hours a day, she decided to come up and practice her sport. So at the end of the 30 days, she went from non-scoring, never been on a travel team or anything, to number 1 on her team, 2 hours a day. Not bad, right? I.e. practice. So why can't we do that in real estate? Okay, we'll go back to that in just a second. So what happened after that is she didn't quit and she kept going. 30 days after that, she won the state championship in her area. 30 days after that, she went to her first national event, which is a 2-day event. And day 1, she ended up in 5th place. Now in 6th place was the current defending Olympic gold medalist from Rio. Pretty good, right? So she got really serious after that. And she told her dad, hey, I want to do this in college. And he's like, they do what? Well, they've got rifle teams in college. And he said, really? She said, they have scholarships. And her dad went, oh, okay. Then what do you need to do? Right. And so she got serious about it. And he said, well, we need to travel. We need to do all of this kind of stuff. Right. Well, what's that mean? Well, I need equipment. I need gear. I need all this kind of stuff. She said, I need this $5,000 air rifle. I need this $20,000 small bore rifle. Seriously, those are the prices. I need this $2,500 custom suit, all this kind of stuff. Well, what are you going to do for this? I'm going to practice. How do you practice? Well, I'm going to need a coach. So what'd she do? she found a coach that was a 2-time Olympian. Not a bad coach, right? To be able to do that. So she started practicing and practicing and practicing. They ended up traveling that next year, and she ended up getting a offer or was invited to come out to Colorado Springs and train at the Olympic Training Center. And the challenge was that she was 16 at the time, and that's too young to live on campus on the Olympic Training Center, the OTC. So she ended up, the family moved, she did that, and she got even better and better and better over that next year. She ended up getting a scholarship to the University of Kentucky. Yay, it worked, right? But here's the point of that. She set goals along the way. She continued with coaching along the way. She also, if you think about this and you have an opportunity to move to the Olympic Training Center and you're surrounded by Olympians every day, what do your goals become? A lot higher, right? What's your training become? A lot more focused, a lot more targeted as you go through. Well, she ended up also setting a goal to go to Tokyo Olympics, right? And so what happened is her training became even more intense. Her training became focused. And when I say focused, it means that she broke down each of these pieces. And from balance to breathing to how to press a trigger to all of these different things, right? But not doing them all together, but doing them piece by piece by piece. Can you imagine practicing breathing, just standing there for an hour going like this? Y'all are already bored, aren't you? Right? I mean, seriously, right? So what happened is she committed to doing that. She committed to practicing her craft, building her skills, increasing her knowledge, implementing the right systems to make that a support mechanism. Long story short, she ended up making the Olympic team in both rifles, which, by the way, has never been done before in the United States. Okay, kind of cool, right? And so a nice little legacy. And I tell this story for a couple of reasons. This is one of them. This is her. Anybody notice the name, by the way?
As Mary Tucker. His name is Rob Tucker.
So see this picture right here? Do you guys stand there and breathe? i.e., do you practice the scripts and dialogues, right? Oh, by the way, silver medal, not bad, huh? Right? Okay. So I tell this story for a couple of reasons. One is every dime of that, by the way, was paid for by Keller Williams profit share. So I'm going to put a patch on that suit someday, right? Okay. Yes, it is Kathy. She asked, is that my daughter?
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yep. But here's the other reason too, is I tell it for more of the example story of what can be done when you focus on getting better at your craft, right? Because if we did that as agents and we took the time, I mean, imagine if we practiced 7 hours a day. That's not going to happen. I mean, let's be real, right? Not going to happen. But if we took 7 hours a week and we practiced, if we even took 7 hours a month and we practiced our role play and our presentations, can you imagine how much better you would get at doing it? For those of you who are new, are you ready to walk into a prospective buyer and do a buyer presentation and get them to sign a buyer agreement right now? Why? Because you haven't practiced it, right? It's that confidence level of doing it. How about if you had that $1.2 million prospective listing? Are you ready to go get it today and do your presentation on it today? What if you've got 5 other agents that are in competition with you? Oh, see the changes, right? If you're by yourself, oh yeah, I got that, right? It's my cousin's, boyfriend's, dog's, cat's, uncle's house. So I know I've got this, right? But here's the key. If you will practice your craft, you will increase your skills, you will increase your knowledge, and you will have you can double your income, you can double your sales without doubling your effort. Now, does it take effort to practice? Of course it does. Does it take the right role play people to practice? Yes, it does. If you're going to be a role play partner, be a good role play partner. Anybody know what I mean by that? That means don't be a jerk until they get it right at least 40 times. And don't, you know what I mean by that, right? I mean, seriously, right? So the first time they ever practice something, imagine that. Say, Sydney, role play with me for a second, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to be, I'm going to be your role play partner, and I'm going to be a really bad one. And just here, we're going to go into the open house. I'm going to walk into the front door of the open house. And by the way, it doesn't matter what you say. Okay. You ready? All right. Knock, knock. Hey, can I come in and look at this house?
Hi, yes, welcome so much. Thank you for coming to the open house. I'll give you a quick overview of the
No,
layout.
that's okay. Is there, can I go over here and look at this one? Yeah, don't do that, guys. How many? No, I see the faces in there, right? So we have a tendency, because we're in real estate, to put our perceptions on some of the role play pieces, right? Be a fantastic role play partner. Let them get it and make it their own before you start throwing things back at them.
So basically be an ideal client
Yes.
until you got it down.
Exactly. Until you master those pieces, right? Be the good role play partner. But if you guys would do that, if all of you would find a role play partner, if all of you would come up and figure out what that one piece of lead generation that you're going to focus on for the next 6 months, right? And by the way, here's what I'll say. Make sure that the one thing you're doing is absolutely keeping your sphere of influence on a 36 touch plan, especially as we go through this shift, and especially as we start seeing markets change and interest rates do this, and who knows what happens in November and all of the different stuff that's going to affect everything, right? We don't know. But if you keep up with your clients and your friends and your sphere of influence, you're going to see yourself increase your market share. And then take that one thing of lead generation and practice it. Practice it for 3 hours a week for the next 30 days. Watch where you go. Practice it for 3 hours a week for the next 30 days after that, and watch what happens with you. Find it, master that one thing, master that piece of lead generation, and you will dominate whatever happens over the next couple of years. The agents that aren't doing it are not going to dominate the next couple of years. So it's your choice.
Rob, we often say that real estate is a simple business.
Yes,
Just not an easy business.
you got it.
And my question to you would be from the perspective of, say, somebody that's new or somebody that has a lot of experience. What is it that makes it not easy?
I think a couple of things. One is so many agents get into the business because it's easy to get into, right? They see the glitz and the glamour. They don't see what it takes. I mean, how many of you seen HGTV shows? So you see the 3 clients that they end up you see the one client that they end up working with, they go to see 3 houses and they end up buying one of them, right? Well, how many people did they work through to get to the one client? How many homes did they get to narrow down to the 3 houses, right? How many offers did they put in to get, right? You see those things. And that's what a lot of people see, and especially over the past couple of years, because we've had a lot of people that have had life-changing experiences, right? And so you get in, you're sitting around, oh my gosh, yeah, let me go take this 60, 70 hour real estate class and become a real estate agent. Anybody in that category, by the way? It's okay. It's all right, right? So we do that and we don't see that it takes effort. And there are also, 400 other agents in your MLS that's there, right? In your board of realtors. It means you have 400 competitors. I always say though, too, that there's really no competition in real estate because most of the agents will chase squirrels and they'll chase butterflies and they'll go, there's so many different things that we get caught up in trying a lot of things and don't master one thing. That makes sense? And we also watch the other agent out there. So we see, how many of you have agents that you're going, oh my gosh, if they can do it, I can do it, or they're doing this, so I'm going to do that too. Does that necessarily fit you and your personality? Not really, right? Find the thing that works for you, but commit to it. And here's the other piece, Russ. They'll try one thing for a week and then they'll quit.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of leads me to, the importance of what is mindset training. And how important is mindset training as it relates to all of the stories that we tell ourselves on why we should or shouldn't do something? So it's a little deep, but I think it's a pretty important, and even more important in a shift, that people have a mindset coach as well as a productivity coach or a platform coach or a process coach. I mean, because without the mindset, I mean, our minds are really wired to find fault and find negativity and find scarcity and find fear. I mean, it's evolutionary, right? And that story we're telling ourselves, if it's not a positive one, it's so easy to rationalize our way right into the couch.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, think about this too. Think about exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about shift, right? We're talking about the market changing. How are we talking about that? Are we talking about that as a negative, as something scary, or as an opportunity? Are the people you're surrounding yourself with talking about it as a negative or an opportunity? By the way, here's the other piece. It goes right with mindset. Who are you talking to on a daily basis? Are they caught up in the negativity, or are they positive? By the way, as you get more successful, what happens? People that have been around you for a long time don't want you to change, but you're going to change. So be careful and watch who's putting thoughts in your brain. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If it's all the news stations, watch out. If it's Facebook, watch out, right? Be careful.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
For sure. And that something that's really important too, I think, depending on your disc profile, depending on your way you're looking at life, is that it's important to understand, to your point, like your first time you do something, you're not going to be as good at it, and it's okay. There's no failure. Like, you learn, right? You don't fail, you just learn forward. And part of that fear of the unknown, and part of the fear of success, and part of the fear of what other people are going to think about you, and judgment, all that's just a story. It's just fictitious. It's your mind playing games. So if you can get yourself grounded in affirmations, I mean, these things seem silly, but I can guarantee you, if we put 10 of us in a room for a month and said, you 10 are going to say, I'm resourceful, I'm capable, I'm worthy, I'm beautiful, I'm all these positive things. You say it out loud after you brush your teeth, and then you take the 10 people and you watch, whatever network you want to watch, or cable news. There's going to be 10 different personalities by the end of the month. Now you add all the people around you and all the naysayers around you, especially in your own family, because sometimes our own family, under the disguise that I want to take care of you, I don't want you to get hurt, they're going to tell you not to go for your dreams. They're going to tell you to get a real job. And sometimes we should, because if we look at ourselves honestly and we're not doing the right things in the right order for whatever reason, then maybe we should, especially in a shift, because the days of being able to just, we had an abundance of buyers, because, you think about it, guys, our average sales price in Wenatchee was 300 grand up until about 2 years ago. And the average interest rate was 2.5 to 3. You fast forward 2 years, the negative mind says, okay, well, now those people aren't qualified, so I guess I'm out of business, because now it's 6% and a $400,000 average sales price. But the positive mind says, man, what a great opportunity. What an amazing thing that if I just go do these simple things over and over again, and I work like any other job, because if I resign from this job, I got to work at another job, and most jobs require like 40 hours, I think. So it's like weird. We just have to work, and we just have to keep it simple and back to the fundamentals. I mean, this is why Rob and I started talking, because I've been through it a couple times, right? And the fundamentals are the key. It's not all the flashy,
Yeah.
the 1,000 things that people want you to buy. It's really just doing the work, and doing the work consistently. And anybody can do it. That's the beautiful thing about this opportunity. Would you agree with some of that, Rob? Or?
All of it. Absolutely. It's very much basics. And as much as we think the world has changed and real estate's changed, it's the same principles. It's the same concepts. It's the same basics. It's the same foundational skills that will make the difference in your success or not. Right. but we forget the fundamentals. We want to do the sexy stuff. We want to do the social media stuff. We want to do all of this, all of these things that are out there that you hear about, instead of focusing on the basics and the fundamentals. I mean, think about this. If all of a sudden, if she forgot to breathe and practice breathing, what happens? If we forget to breathe correctly, what happens? Not good, right? That's kind of fundamental, isn't it? It's foundational to life, right? But if we don't do it, what happens? If you guys anybody play sports? Anybody really good or have played sports in the past? JP, what'd you play?
Soccer, baseball.
Okay,
football.
all right. So you practice penalty kicks?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
And corner kicks, we practiced all the time.
What if you never
I hated
practice those? Yeah. What if you never practice those anymore? You're going to hit, is the goalie going to win, or are you going to win in the PK?
Goalie's going to win those.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. So, I mean, same thing, right? If you practice all of these things, like if Michael Jordan quit when he was Michael Jordan, right? If he quit practicing free throws, what would happen?
He wouldn't be that good.
Yeah, he wouldn't be shooting them blindfolded in the finals with the final game, with the game on the line, with his eyes closed. By the way, if you haven't seen that, go back and Google it and watch it on YouTube. Eyes closed, final game, shooting free throws.
Rob, that brings up, Michael Jordan brings up a good point. And why did he have a coach? Why did Tiger Woods have a coach? Why do they have these coaches when they're the best in the world?
Because a coach can find two things. One, a coach will not be emotional in what's happening. A coach will be able to find out if you are and keep you on track to what you're doing, because you will get off track. There will be squirrels. There will be butterflies that you're going to start chasing. There'll be emails that come in. There will be money that you'll want to go spend because it's easy, right? A coach will keep you on track. A coach will hold you capable. If you notice, and you guys notice that I do not like a coach holds you accountable thing, because you can hold you accountable. You're the only one that can hold you accountable to what you're doing. The coach can hold you capable to what you can do and can be your accountability partner and make sure that you're on the right track and keep you on the right track, but they can't do it for you. So you got to be accountable to making it happen. Oh. All right, y'all.
Good stuff. Well, you're getting kind of a hint. I mean, Rob, maybe just for a couple minutes, just to kind of outline the program, what we're doing again, just kind of refresh everybody, because we're not doing it right now, but we're getting, every week we get just a little bit closer.
I don't know. Hey, you may have some people that want to go ahead and start, right?
They might. Sydney's ready. Sydney ready?
That's right.
Yeah, she's ready. We can do it.
Start Monday.
There you go. So here's the thing.
Hey guys, thanks Sydney, because she's really stepping up here, and people that are gonna, she's an amazing agent. Team. Gonna be amazing coach.
We've put together a platform over the past 10 years that truly takes you from A to Z in real estate. It's everything that I've used, that we've used to build $60 and $100 million teams. It's all in one place. And literally, if you say, okay, I want to make $100,000 over the next year, it gives you step-by-step, day-by-day instruction on what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, all the support materials, everything in one place that you can follow. And here's the thing. It has got every piece of it that you'll ever need. And if you do it, you will hit your goal, period, every single time. And you'll have the support to do it. There's also a role play and huddle Monday through Thursday. There's 2 masterminds every month. It is a fantastic network. There's a searchable database of all of the past 2 years of those 2 for every kind of subject. And it is all thanks to your team right there, your leadership team that has brought this in and partnered with us to do this. So, yeah. And for more information, contact Sydney, because she'll give you the details. And yeah, there's nothing like it.
It's so true. I mean, if you do the work, anybody can do it. This is what's so fundamentally strange about real estate. We're so good at putting up reasons and rationalizing why we can't be great. You know, that good is the enemy of great concept, right? We just talk ourselves into it because there's so many people that want to pull you down. You know, the crab pot theory, right? Like, I mean, the average doesn't like the outlier, but the outlier doesn't. It's not like you're have to be Einstein or Michael Jordan. I mean, you just have to do some work and be yourself, right? And all of a sudden, it doesn't happen day one, but this program, if you do it, guys, Rob's not lying. I mean, it'll work.
By the way, I don't know, we do these challenges 6 times a year, right? 4 to 6 times a year. Next week, we're starting a 21-day for sale by owner challenge because we are seeing more of them and we're seeing more of them not sell.
Mhm.
Right?
Awesome.
So that starts next Wednesday. And if there's anybody that is interested in getting in there, go see Sydney. And yeah. By the way, let me just show you this real quick, and I'm going to leave you with this because I love this right here. This is a text message I got. Can you see it? Can you see the text message?
Yes.
Okay. He sent me this last year, and it was November, or no, it was October of last year. About to put my next property under contract, put me at 10 million on the year in volume. Not bad, right? How long has he been in the business? Anybody want to guess?
2 years.
Month number 10.
Oh, rude.
Month number 10. You want me to tell you what he did?
Let's hear it.
Tell us.
Open houses, 1 a week for the first 6 months. And here's the story he tells, right? For the first week, I didn't do it right. I didn't follow the instructions. I didn't have anybody. The second week, I said, okay, let me get the checklist out and follow the checklist. I did a little bit more. Third week, a little bit more. Third week, a little bit more. June, which was 6 months in. By the way, we're talking about a 22-year-old brand new graduate from University of Alabama. That's who this is, by the way. He put 2.5 million under contract in month number 6. Month number 7, anybody want to guess the number there? 2.5 million. By month number 10, he was at 10. He sent me another message in February of this year. Wait a minute, let me pull it up. There we go. Ready? So this is February of this year. This was February 13th, Sunday. Rob, just wanted to give you another update, man. I'm at almost 3.5 million closed pending. February. In the first month and 13 days of 2022, sitting down a little before 7 a.m. this Sunday morning to have my breakout time, get organized for another huge week, looking to be past 4 million by this time next week. Year number, well, let's see, that's 12 and a half months into the business. All right, guys, your turn.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Congrats to your daughter, right? Is that your daughter, Mary Tucker?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Rob.
Congratulations, man. That's so cool.
Thanks.
Tell her congratulations.
All right, you got it. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all later. Thank you. Make it a fantastic day. See you on the program, by the way.